Part 2 on hearing God. We're talking about not boxing God in. Not only is it a problem up here, but it can be a serious problem when it comes out here.
Tell me,
I hear you.
is it you?
Is it you? I hear you.
Just because a person doesn't go to a four-walled church doesn't mean they are not under a God-ordained pastor or in communion with teachers he sends, etc. That's the key, though. Whom he sends. God ordains position, not man. Somehow, Jesus went all over with his disciples, and he had them doing church together, as opposed to being bound by the temple, which had corrupted leadership, fleshly teaching, and money as the focus. Kind of sounds like today, doesn't it? God will not be boxed, nor those that trust in him. In John 10:9, Jesus says, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. Let me elaborate. First, we go through the door of Jesus unto salvation. But then it says, shall go in and out and find pasture. See that freedom there? You know, there's an immense amount of freedom, but when we box ourselves in by this thinking of a religious kind of thinking, we box ourselves out of all sorts of things. And so let me just get into this. In my, I just want to talk about, being open to whom God sends you. In my early spirit-filled days, the Lord would always put the oddest people in my life that held the anointing. Really odd people. But I feel like, it was a purposeful test. Am I going to judge people by how they look or how they act or whatever? Or am I going to look in here? So I remember the first one. He stuttered, he was blunt and teased too much, and it seemed like a lack of mental, physical development might have been in his bloodline. But I go to prayer meeting, and in him I'd see this light switch turn on, and it's like he wasn't there. It was God sitting there speaking to me. So I honored this man as a vessel of God. I knew he was plugged into God, and it was just so amazing. And he'd always reiterate, look who God can use, And, but, it's like I drug my dad along with me to these meetings. He was kind of curious too. And we'd go home, and I'd have to listen to my dad and then other members of the family make fun of this man, of his family. He's a man of God. They just would not get it. All they remembered was when the light switch was off. Then another person was an obese woman. Again, that light switch, it was him. It was so wonderful. I served her in any capacity. I was just excited for the next time he showed up through her. And, just honoring a vessel of God. It's an honor to be able to recognize that and to serve the person because you're just so blessed by them. My point is to view everything in the spirit, not under the heavy hand of the flesh. The age thing, the look, or any of the physical stuff. Or is it heady knowledge? Is it degrees, diplomas? They mean nothing to me. Poor quality video for those of you that are out there doing stuff. Are you dogging yourself? No, you do the best that you can. You have poor quality video or audio, it means nothing to me. Obedience is everything. And his mark on a person's life is what I listen to. When I feel that switch go on, I'm not looking or hearing or I'm plugging into God through you. So I just want to encourage you, those of you that are out there, to be that light. So, it's his mark on a person's life. That's what I listen to. I've prayed over people that were ordained pastors in the natural, in physical world, blah blah. I went through all the pastor stuff, but that's not whom God said that person was, you know? And so it kind of hurt a little bit to pray over that person because they were shoving themselves in their own box. You don't want to do that. Can my words smack you around a little bit? Really? How often are we even entertaining angels unawares? How are we? Wake up, spirit man, and pay attention with this. Delay this. Let me get back to John 10:9. To this part, shall go in and out and find pasture. How many times have you heard that God will save those from their sin, and then one day they return to be a light in that darkness they once partook in whatever degree that would be? Your testimony of salvation needs to be out there, people. So let me encourage you. You need to be testifying. And now, I want to get to expounding upon freedom. In Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Did you hear that? All things. In and out of pasture. This is only going to become, unbalanced and not work if you quit earnestly seeking God with a repentant heart. Excuse me. Why are some things sin to one, but not to another? Because one is like flint in the world, and another a sponge. You have to know yourself, and you have to talk to him. If you have to batten down the hatches in areas, do so. But do not hinder others by preaching a box mentality. Part of that's fear, There's fear attached to that. It's like, no, 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 no. Because then you'll be a damn sinner. True things, things can have an evil spirit behind it. It's blatantly obvious that Highway to Hell isn't a wholesome bit. But have you looked at all the gray area out there in the world? Are we missing out on what the one true God is saying, or ways to reach unbelievers because of being programmed with religious lies that have a root in an evil religious spirit, the same one that killed Jesus? Where is the ministry of meet them where they're at? Can we learn to meet people where they are? I've had a song example playing in my head the past 2 days, and it's not a Christian song. In fact, I really don't know the lyrics or the title to the song, and I really didn't even know the words. So I had to research until I could find it. When I did, I got a little choked up because then I realized he was singing me a love song. He was telling me the little things he has me do is making a difference to change the world. And he was telling me that his home is in my heart, and with every beat, we're closer. Oh God, did I need to hear that? Of course I did. How easily I could have missed that by dismissing it. We have to really tune into God because he's speaking to us everywhere. God uses everything to convey his messages. Who are we to decide his plan and purposes? Why should we care if he pays those hired on the 11th hour the same as those hired the first? Who's to say that God will not use the wicked to bring about his purposes? What Old Testament battle should I bring up as an example here? The thing you need to hear is that God will not be boxed.